A 36-year-old Muskegon man has been charged with a felony for allegedly sexually assaulting two dogs living in his home. Curtis Peterson has been arraigned on one count of crime against nature, also known as bestiality. That felony is punishable up to 15 years in prison. Peterson is a fourth-time habitual offender, so he could potentially get life in prison if convicted. Police say Peterson sexually assaulted two dogs, one of which belonged to a roommate. According to the report, it was allegedly witnessed by someone who was in the home at the time. Peterson currently being held on a $250,000 bond and will be in court for a preliminary exam later this month. Well, how about some good economic news regarding our state? Michigan's GDP in 2011 was in the top 10 in the entire country. According to a government economic group, our state's gross domestic product grew 2.3% last year. That beats some much larger states like California, New York, and Florida. Thanks to a booming oil industry, the state with the most growth is North Dakota with 7.6%. Most of Michigan's growth in 2011 was in production of durable goods, which would include appliances and vehicles. A 6-year-old boy in Muskegon County is dead after collapsing during a field day event at his school yesterday. Now investigators are hoping some medical tests will shed some light on what caused the tragedy. This happened around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon at Churchill Elementary School in Norton Shores. The boy's mother was volunteering at the field day when her son collapsed and immediately ran to his side. The kindergartner was rushed to Hackley Hospital but didn't make it. School administrators say they're doing what they can for the family and held a moment of silence at last night's school board meeting. Investigators have not released the child's name.
We start with breaking news out of Grand Rapids tonight. A young woman sexually assaulted during a home invasion in Grand Rapids earlier this week.
The violent nature of the case had detectives working around the clock, leading to 4 arrests and a search for the 5th suspect. We are learning tonight that that 5th suspect has turned himself in. 19-year-old James Hodges turned himself into authorities around 3 o'clock this afternoon. He's expected to be arraigned on Monday. He is one of just 5 suspects linked to this brutal home invasion. Today, 3 of them were charged: Dorian Jones, Redrick Melton, and Brandon Towns. The 5th suspect in custody is only 14 years old. Fox 17's Jennifer Dowling was in court to hear charges against the 3 suspects that were arraigned. She is live in Grand Rapids with the details on this investigation. Jennifer. Thank you, Morgan. It was a case that drew national attention. Now, Sean Phillips, the man found guilty of unlawfully imprisoning his baby daughter, is scheduled to be sentenced tomorrow. Catherine Baby Kate Phillips was last seen in June of 2011, and what happened to her still remains a mystery. Sean Phillips was originally charged with kidnapping, but that charge was later dropped. After 2 weeks of testimony, he was found guilty of unlawful imprisonment back in April. Phillips faces up to 15 years in prison. Stay with Fox 17 both on air and online tomorrow afternoon as we bring you updates on the sentencing. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tim Doty.
And I'm Michelle LaSounds. We start tonight with breaking news out of Ludington, where about an hour ago, Sean Phillips was sentenced for his role in the Baby Kate case.
But just moments after the sentence was handed down, authorities dropped a bombshell, releasing a statement saying that the case of the missing girl is now being called a homicide and only saying that Sean knows where her body is. Let's go straight to Fox 17's Darren Cunningham, who was in the courtroom for the sentencing. He joins us now live in Ludington. Darren. Oh, and say it ain't so. Taco Bell says they're making menu changes. The fast food giant plans to add some new upscale items to curb your late night cravings. The new Cantina Bell menu will offer things like cilantro rice, citrus and herb marinated chicken, and fire roasted corn salsa. All the items are estimated to cost $5 or less, and the move could put the fast food chain in competition with casual dining chains like Chipotle and Qdoba. This announcement comes just days after Taco Bell says it sold its 100 millionth Doritos Loco Taco. It's their most popular menu item to date. New tonight in Ionia County, high speeds are being blamed for a crash that killed 2 people this afternoon. Police say this Chevy Cavalier was heading west on Smoky Row near Main Street when the driver lost control. The car went into a ditch, went airborne, and then hit a tree. The 21-year-old male driver and his 20-year-old male passenger were not wearing their seatbelts, and both were killed. The crash remains under investigation. More than 80 lawsuits filed by former players against the NFL have now been combined into one large complaint that accuses the league of hiding information that linked concussions to brain damage. The lawsuit's been filed on behalf of more than 2,000 players, both living and deceased, and citing things like dementia, depression, and early onset Alzheimer's that they say were caused by head trauma. The NFL has denied the charges in the past and says they've always made player safety a priority and will continue to do so. Among the plaintiffs, former Bears quarterback Jim McMahon and defensive backs Dave Duerson and Roy Easterling, both of whom committed suicide within the past year. The body of a Portage man missing for months has been found on Japan's Mount Fuji. According to family posts on Facebook, Matt Johnson's body was found about 500 meters from a trail on the mountain, adding that it looks like he may have fallen or been blown by high winds from a higher elevation. The area was searched last February but was likely covered in snow at the time. Johnson was on a business trip to Japan last winter and failed to show up for work on January 16th. Scary morning for a family in Byron Center. They woke up to a group of people in their home stealing whatever they could get their hands on. It happened around 2 a.m. in the 2200 block of Pleasant Glen Drive. When the homeowners saw what was going on, they called 911. The suspects ran out of the house once they were spotted. Deputies saw a suspicious vehicle a short time later. 4 people were in the car along with stolen property from the home. The suspects are all young males, 2 of them juveniles who will be housed at the Kent County Juvenile Detention Center. The 2 adults are Chris Morris of Grand Rapids, he's 18, and Antonio Aguiar, who is 17, also from Grand Rapids. Both were taken to Kent County Jail, charges pending. And finally, we are told this is in Russia. We are told this is an amusement ride. Okay, you've seen that before, those kind of rides, but watch what happens. The arms start working in different, they are not in unison. And I don't know if this is intended or not, because A, it's an amusement park. It doesn't necessarily look like Cedar Point there. But I don't want to be anywhere near that thing. Okay, it'd be scary if they were working together. But working that way or not working, that is frightening. The music's good, though.
It's kind of cool.
Now you know how Taffy feels.
Boy, that does
Human taffy.
I don't like that.
Really?
I stripped the coat.
I like the
No,
look. You don't have the extra.
No, he's
I don't have a big left hand. I can't use the hashtag.
Kicking a man while he's down. So,
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm helping him fit in.
I got the big cast until Sunday, and it goes back to the small one again.
All right.
Well,